All right. Just wait for the stream to catch up. Stream's good. You are live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gospel of Comics with the Church of Failure and Ayrton. Um, we have only just met, and we are here to talk about comic books. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Ayrton.
Hi, my name's Ayrton McCartney. I also like comic books. I don't know. That's my introduction.
I mean, you really can't get more basic than that. I like it. Obviously, I am the Church of Failure. Not giving you guys my real name because, unlike my co-host here, I am not that brave. But we are here to discuss comic books and why we like them, and then we will, over the next week, go through the Secret Wars and discuss that, starting over with issue 1 through 3 next week, probably Friday around 10 p.m. But today I figured it'd just be a good chance to introduce ourselves and talk about why we like comics. I'll go ahead and make sure the link is out on Twitter. If you want to go ahead and start with why you appreciate comics, then oh well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, there's there's so much to enjoy about them. Whether it's the art style, the storytelling, the archetypes, being brought into our modern era from days past. It's modern mythology, really, and they're weird most of the time, and it's fun.
And I completely agree with you on the modern mythology point. I mean, obviously, I'm a big proponent of comic books, and I've always looked at comics to be essentially our Greek and Roman mythology. I mean, we're never going to have a Zeus or an Odin or a Heliod or any or Helios. Excuse me, Heliod's a magic card. Uh, but we're never going to have.
Well, I mean, technically, we do have an Odin.
I mean, in Marvel, yes, but as an American culture, we're not going to have those things. So we're going to look up to the Supermans and the Batmans and the Captain Americas of the world, and we're just going to go based on that. So
Yeah, and it's great. Everybody can find a character in these plethora of stories that you can connect with, and it's great.
right. So I guess that leads into the first big question. If you had to pick a comic book character from the big two, Marvel and DC, or one of each, who would you say is your favorite character of those two companies?
Oh, definitely Wolverine. I've been a fan of that character since I was like 10 or 11. Just his kind of loner nature, but still wanting to like be around and help people, and that whole kind of dichotomy between like man and beast that he fights throughout his long run is something that I gravitated to from a very, very young age.
Well, let me just flex on my knowledge a little bit. Can you tell me what issue was the first issue appearance of Wolverine?
The first full appearance or the first little like nod, because he technically showed in at the last page of Hulk 180, but his first full appearance was issue 181.
Oh man, we're gonna get along great. I mean, I know that was a softball, but as someone whose favorite character is Wolverine, but you have no idea how many people I've encountered who are just like, "Oh, my favorite character is Spider-Man. I've been reading since his introduction in Spider-Man #1," and I'm like, "You mean Amazing Fantasy 15?"
No, I literally have one of those like 10 posters of the Incredible Hulk 181 on my wall.
Oh,
So,
that's nice. I guess anything from DC. Do you want to give a DC character?
I like Green Arrow, but that's mostly just because I enjoy archery too. But as a full on character outside of that, I'd probably have to say Green Lantern. Probably Guy Gardner specifically, but kind of like the concept of Green Lantern as a whole, I just find intriguing. Just for the simple fact of it's just based off of his powers, based off of his will and imagination, and I find that a very cool and creative way to kind of like present a superhero, because you never really know, depending on who's wielding the ring, you don't really know like what they're actually going to project, and I find that very fun.
Oh man, Green Lantern is also my favorite. Also, before I get into this, go ahead and throw Elias in the chat, or Reg. Elias is a fantastic artist that you should check out on Twitter. He has done some fantastic merchandise for the likes of Dick Masterson, the Ralph Retort, and plenty of others. And I am in awe of his talent. So everybody check him out on Twitter. And shout out to Elias and chat. Thanks for stopping in, big guy. But anyway, no. Green Lantern is probably my DC pick too. I actually have the Hal Jordan Green Lantern symbol tattooed on my arm because that's
nice.
How much of a fanboy I am. It is located directly beneath a Spider-Man insignia from his chest. So that's the Marvel.
I was actually thinking of getting a Green Lantern insignia tattooed on one of my fingers in glow in the dark UV ink.
I've been looking for a jeweler to actually make me a true to life Green Lantern ring, but they're few and far between, and most of them have any concept of what comic books are. So.
Right. I also have a Thor's hammer tattooed on my shoulder blade.
Now, traditional Mjolnir from the Norse mythology, or actual Thor's hammer with the inscription from Marvel Comics?
I got the traditional one with the Midgard serpent circling it, and then Odin's two ravens, Hugin and Munin, standing on either side of it. Yeah. It's a very elaborate piece.
I mean, that sounds fantastic. I've not been that intricate with my superhero tattooing because I'm a weirdo and an artist, and my tattoos are basically a patchwork blanket. But no, that sounds pretty freaking epic. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'll post a picture up on Twitter sometime if people want to check that out. My tattoo artist is very, very good.
Hey, definitely. If you have the Twitter, tag him in the tweet. It might draw him some business. But going back,
I don't know if he does. Anyways,
going back to your explanation of why you like Green Lantern, I really appreciate him for a lot of the same reasons. Kyle Rayner and Guy Gardner are probably my favorite too, but you can't really undersell Hal Jordan. But I've always just appreciated.
Oh no, I mean. Yeah, I mean Hal Jordan is great. I like Guy Gardner, like just his hot-headedness and stuff, and he's not as like reserved as a lot of the other Lanterns.
The fact that he took a sucker punch, well, not even a sucker punch, but took a straight to the jaw face punch from Batman, and just kind of shook it off. Didn't even like pretend like he got hit.
Well, that, and even after his ring was taken away, he still like went out and tried to help people too.
Well, he beat the crap out of Sinestro and basically took his ring, if I'm not mistaken, at one point, right? He had that yellow,
something
he had
like that.
ring.
Yeah, he had the yellow ring. He used the red one. He got infected by the red ring. I know for a while too.
That was
the last.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the last I've really read of Green Lantern comics was I started reading the New 52 and then kind of got bored with it after a few issues. So I'm a little fuzzy on some of my later Green Lantern lore.
Well, just to kind of fill you in, with the Red Ring, that was probably what I consider the most amazing, just straight up scene in the War of Light and the Blackest Night saga, with all the dead characters coming back as Black Lanterns and all that stuff. A Red Lantern died.
Yeah.
And his ring attached to Guy Gardner because Kyle Rayner had just died, and he was dual wielding red and green rings. And ever since I saw that panel when I was a much younger lad, I have always appreciated it to the point that at that time I used to wear a pair of Converses with custom, where the little star tag, the little wax patch with the star logo is on the inside of the Chuck Taylor high top.
Yeah, yeah.
I had those like bleached and reprinted with a red and green lantern insignia, respectively.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's how much I love that storyline. I didn't really like.
Yeah, I've seen that panel.
Well, I didn't really.
So I know the image you're talking about.
Right. I didn't really like the Aftermath story, Brightest Day, as much. Now, I like the fact that it brought Swamp Thing back into the mainstream, but I don't really care for the story itself. But it was still much better writing than we get from current day Marvel. So.
Right. I mean, that's not setting the bar too high there.
Just looking into it, from what I understand, the Yellow Ring was Sinestro's. He sometimes just called it the Gold Ring during the Death of Superman arc. Let's see here. When they discovered that Sinestro had taken and used his ring, blah blah blah, he made the Yellow Ring on Ford. Gardner came into possession of the ring after he was ejected from the Green Lantern Corps during the Identity Crisis. Gardner would discover that he had alien DNA, becoming the Warrior, and would use Sinestro's yellow power ring. So, the Warrior arc was garbage, and no one should ever read it. I'm just going to put that out right now. Guy Gardner as Warrior never happened. So, just don't even think about the fact that I just said that. In fact, once the stream is over, I may go back and edit that out. So, no one even
just so no one even knows it exists. Yeah.
Robin,
yeah, I mean.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I haven't done as much like extensive reading with the DC comics. I'll admit it. I've been a Marvel fanboy and shill since I was a young child, and just kind of stuck with it.
Well, my dad probably, like I said, took me into the comic book store when I was barely out of the hospital. Oh, the man without the tattoo. Well, we both have tattoos, but I'm guessing you're saying the man without the Thor tattoo is low. So that would be me. I just fixed this. We were talking about it. I guess I'll go into my sound. Go ahead and talk about how you got into comics while I look into this.
Yeah. So, let's see. Well, I can remember reading some comics as a pretty young kid. I don't know, 7 or 8. Ooh, that was loud.
Sorry about that.
And kind of got out of it for a little bit, and then, but I still watched like X-Men, the animated series, and like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, that overly cheesy show, which I still enjoy to this day. And then the first X-Men movie came out, and as a younger kid, that was like the coolest thing ever to see that. And I love that movie. And then my parents got me the Essential Wolverine collection as a Christmas gift, and then it kind of springboarded from there. I have all of the Essential Wolverine comics, a good chunk of the Ultimate X-Men. Then I got into Thor and Spider-Man, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a little bit of a slower progression for me. As far as that goes, it was like I think like 12 or 13 is when I started getting more into them.
Well, I guess it was about the same time, and not to interrupt or anything. How's the volume now, Chad? Am I coming through a little bit better?
Oh, I can hear you much better.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and admit, since there are only 3 people currently watching, that as a boomer, I did not lower my microphone on my headset. So my microphone was at the top of my head, and I was just sitting here going, "Didn't I just fix this?" So, and that's the kind of person
no,
I am.
Out of the few people watching, somebody should clip that out and save it for posterity's sake.
Oh, absolutely. They should definitely not spam my Twitter at church failure with boomer memes. That would be wrong. Just don't. But yeah, my father was really big into comics, and when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I went into his bedroom, and he had left one of his long boxes out, and I turned an entire set of the original 1987 Secret Wars into confetti. So
Ooh.
I grew up hearing that story and being bought Spider-Man and Green Lantern comics, and being the proverbial rear end of that joke. Also, yes, Robin, you should absolutely be the T-Clip of comics. Oh yeah, Secret Wars. Even 2 or 3 copies of number 8. I turned. Yes. At the time, that was about 12 grand. But with the entire long box that I destroyed, not just those 12 books, but the entire long box.
Right.
I mean, there were at current times there was probably about 12 G's in that box of 300 comic books that I destroyed. I'm not proud of it, but I have made amends. There's more than quadruple that in my closet right now. I've bought 2 or 3 sets of Secret Wars 1987 to make amends. But anyway, getting back to it, my dad was a huge fan of comic books and has read them from the time that he was a kid. So one of the first places that he took me after I went out of the hospital was into the comic shop to introduce his, new child to the people that he was going to be spending most of his money in. So I eventually grew up and through to watch the X-Men and Spider-Man cartoons and the Saturday morning cartoons, just like you were talking about. And, I decided I wanted to start reading Spider-Man comics. And, one day I was at my grandfather's house and reading my Spider-Man comics, and he said, "Hey, you like those?" And I said, "Yeah." So he took me and showed me his collection of Green Lantern comic books, of which he had just acquired the one with the cover where Hal Jordan was Parallax in the armor. And that was the coolest cover I had ever seen. And I wanted that comic book, but he wouldn't let me touch it because obviously I had turned so much money worth of comics into confetti before.
It's hard to erase that history from people's memory.
So eventually, yeah, with the rings and the armor and just the deranged white-haired tip Hal Jordan, you got it, Robin. So eventually, years went on, and the arcade in my town, when we had one, was actually giving comic books away as prizes for tickets, and I found a copy of it. And from that day on, I not only collected Spider-Man, but Green Lantern comics. So, I've grown up into it, and eventually I decided that I wanted to not necessarily chronicle comic books, but I wanted to go back to the beginning and kind of learn about all the important storylines and the important historical events that revolved around comics, like the Great Book Burning back in the late '60s, early '70s, with the seduction of the innocent and the Comics Code Authority. Learn about the origin of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby working together, and Stan Lee's history at Marvel and all the fantastic characters that he created. So I kind of invested a little bit of time and effort into looking up these old back issues and finding like $20 reader copies of a comic book that, really shouldn't be worth 25 cents, except for the fact that it's so rare. I mean, the fact that you're missing 2 pages and have to look those up.
Yeah, that's always the hassle of trying to read old comics online.
So, I did find out though that, and eventually I'll probably want to do a show on this, but there are thousands of comic books that are in the public domain that people have no idea ever existed because they're not Avengers and Batman. But I mean, you've got stuff like Adaman, the old Young Romance, the Western comics, Frisky the Cat, the original Daredevil before Matt Murdock ever came into publication. Just stuff like that they're not like the comics that you're used to today, but they are just fantastic. And of course, I've read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was a tax refund gimmick from the 2 creators. They never expected it to go anywhere, but then who was it? Mattel.
I've heard that story actually.
Who was it? Mattel, or was it one of the other toy companies came to the creators and they were like, "I want to make toys of your creations because we think they'll make $1 million." And the guys were like, "Sure, what the fuck ever. We don't think that's actually going to happen." And it made $1 million.
Going back to your point real quick, about public domain comics, like even like the newspaper, like comic strips. Like I remember my grandpa always buying a newspaper, and reading it every morning, and then he'd give me the page with the comic strips, and even some of those are kind of cool, like the the Dilbert and Garfield and that kind of stuff too. I even like that. I like that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, and just to address chat real quick, you think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were cute? You should know about the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. I'm not even kidding.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me some.
I'll
I feel like this is something I should be Googling right now.
I'll post a link in chat. There we go. It's a Wikipedia article, but there were probably 2 or 3 dozen offshoots of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it was so successful. So yes, it was the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. And
okay, this looks fantastic. Just looking at some of these covers, I want to read these now. Holy crap!
You should.
This looks awesome.
They are just as much of a trash fire as you would expect.
This looks like the most ridiculous like B movie version of comic books I've ever seen. This looks amazing.
I know, right? And the fact, and yeah, Robin's like, why didn't this take off? I mean, nobody really knows except for the fact that nobody approached those guys to make toys. You gotta understand.
Okay, there's one.
What's up?
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's one issue. But no.
Oh, this cover of the hamster meditating is hilarious.
Right. Let's see. Oh no, it ran for 2 years. I think I read is. Let's see. Ran for 4 issues, and there was a 2-issue miniseries and a one-shot. Also appeared in a couple of other comics. But yeah, I only read the first issue because that's the only one I've ever been able to get my hands on. Literally until this moment, I had no idea there was more of this. I'm going to have to spend an exorbitant amount of money and make my wife extremely upset by finding the rest of them. Oh, wait. March 30th, 2007, Dynamite has the right to reprint the comics, and the first 4-part miniseries was published between January and June of 2008. So there's a potential to get this for not an exorbitant amount of money. Fantastic. But yeah.
Okay, I hope someone else has found the Star Wars cover version of this comic book, because this is amazing. And
Elias just put in old age malformed samurai frogs. That was another one, I think. I don't even think he's joking. But no, what I was getting at is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles became so popular because even though they originated as a comic, the characters were just so, able to be formed into something. They were able to be molded into a toy line, a cartoon, merchandise, live action movies. Oh man, Robin's asking me to actually use OBS. Why are you being a bad person? All right, I'll go ahead and pull up some covers. You're gonna have to deal with my boomer level status here, and let me get these adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters covers. All right. Yeah,
you got to pull this.
I'm not the greatest with OBS.
Go ahead.
But we're gonna work on this. I'm gonna troubleshoot live on air with you folks. So let's see here.
Well, if you can get it working, you have to show the Star Wars parody one because it says a long time ago in a galaxy fur away, and it's just the pun is just too fantastic.
Actually, that
this needs to be known.
That reminds me, I want to take a minute and tell everyone to go up on Indiegogo and look up a song of fur and mice, I believe. It's a play on the A Song of Fire and Ice, but it's a graphic novel that I believe is over 100 pages, and it was given a shout out on Nick Rekieta's show, and it sounds fantastic.
Oh wow!
It's an all ages comic, and like Nick was talking about with that Umbrella guy, all ages comics are pretty much impossible to write. So the fact that you can actually market a comic book for all ages, that's impressive to begin with. But the fact that the creator is also a predominant comic skater, there we go. Let's get that in the middle there. Shrink it down so we can get the whole thing in. Oh man, I'm really boomering this up right now. It's fantastic. There we go. That is the cover
be going worse if I was running it.
For book 1, the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. And let's see, you were looking for the Star Wars cover, the one with a long time ago in a galaxy fur away.
Yes, that is fantastic. I want a framed version of that on my wall.
Let's see. That's classics. Santa Claus. These are just so great. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna spend the next several days trying to find copies of these.
You're gonna buy the ones that I could possibly get. Shoot me a message with the cover. Oh no, never mind. I've found it here. We'll save that here, and we'll get that up right side by side. And yeah, that is that is something of just absolute glory. Like the creativeness alone is just, there we go, folks. We'll just blow that up here.
I feel like that's a whole episode right there, just talking about this series of comics.
I mean, I think
too wonderful to.
I think we might have to put Secret Wars on hold and down, legally obtain these comic books and read them.
Yes. Of course.
Not that the copyright. Well, I guess Dynamite.
Talking about are they even still around?
Dynamite? Absolutely. They put out.
Oh, okay.
What was it? It was either, I believe it was The Boys, because the Boys was too risque for DC's. Yeah, I believe they put out The Boys. Publication history. They were originally on. Yep, Dynamite picked it up after they were dropped from Wildstorm, which was DC's edgy imprint during the 90s. So
edgy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as edgy, but
well, are you familiar with The Boys at all?
I'm not. I've sadly fallen back out of following comics closely over the past several years as their quality's kind of gone down, and there's no more local comic shop around here. So, well, that closed down probably 10 years ago. But
let me tell you about something great with Alterna then. Alterna Comics, Peter Semelli on Twitter, very vocal, comic book supporter. He's not Comicsgate, he's not anti-Comicsgate, he just loves comics. But Alterna has a 1-year subscription that I believe is almost or over 100 comics for about $100.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Well, they are the ones with the newsprint comics.
I'll have to check that out.
It's all original characters, original stories. I've not read one yet that I didn't like, and I picked up at least the first 4 issues of the first 5 or 6 series of their comics. And nothing that I've picked up from them have I disliked for any reason. There's no forced diversity. It's just good storytelling and good comics on cheaper paper stock with a price tag that you can sell to a kid as opposed to a pack of Pokemon cards.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Now, just since we're in that vein, did you check out Diversity in Comics Jawbreakers at all? Because that looks interesting.
I have not, and that was only because I was not able to take part in the initial Kickstarter or convince my local shop to invest in Comicsgate books off the rip. But I think
Gotcha.
I think I'm slowly bringing them around by explaining to them that even though they're only ordering 2 or 3 copies of any comic book, that 2 or 3 weeks later I'm putting those 2 or 3 copies in a back issue bin.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to read Jawbreakers, but I just have too much respect for the Comicsgate creators to even quote unquote legally acquire press copies.
Right.
So I'm waiting for an opportunity to pick up physical copies of those or legally obtain digital copies through the distributors.
Yeah, because just seeing like some of the art and stuff that he's shown on his channel, it looks really good and really cool.
Well, it was great the way he pulled it off. I mean, I think Ethan Van Sciver said it best when it was either him or that Umbrella guy or Yellow Flash, and I apologize for not having a proper source or a clip to play, but again, this is just kind of an introduction impromptu stream. And I wanted to just shout out that the Comicsgate guys have very regularly put out some of the most intricate and enticing work. And Jawbreakers, the industry said, well, why don't you just go off and create your own comic? And your boy Zach just said, all right.
Yeah, it was that's what was so cool about it, is he was just kind of like, all right, fuck you guys, I'll make my own comics.
Now, first and foremost, I want to just put this out there. A lot of viewers that may come in the future or may be here now may recognize me from orbiting around the drama community on YouTube, and it is my goal to not actually become a drama channel. I'm not the kind of person that can intellectually inform, or say anything that hasn't already been said. But I do want to comment on one thing because it directly, correlates with your boy Zach, and we're talking about Jawbreakers. Did you hear about the recent Jim Jeffries controversy?
Oh, the whole them cutting up that interview.
Well, we already know.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, we already know that they did that to your boy Zach because and I know Ethan says his name, but that's again something I don't really want to take part in on this channel. That's not the kind of channel we are. But when we're talking about Zach, we know that they basically slandered him by clipping up his answers to different questions. But
yeah, I did hear about that briefly earlier today, actually.
Someone who lives in Australia, I believe, a YouTube content creator named Avi, if I'm not mistaken, has and you know what? This is actually a pretty good time to again boomer up some OBS here. Why don't I just add a browser and we'll pull up the YouTube video and kind of go through it a little bit and just kind of look at it live on air. See if we can pull this off in case we need to comment on something in the future.
All right, what am I gonna have to do on my end?
I will send you the link as well, and I will just mute the audio so you can watch it. And when I start talking again, I guess we'll figure this out as we go. Like I said, we're doing it live. We're doing it live.
All right. All right, send it over to me, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. I'm just gonna copy the link here, put it in there. Let's see if it comes up on screen first.
So a few months ago, Jim Jeffries' producer contacted me and asked me to come on as a guest to his show. Now, I agreed with two conditions. One, there'll be no neo-Nazi or Nazi sympathizers on the same segment because I don't want to be aligned to them and I don't want to give them...
All right, that didn't work. It did, but...
Yeah, this is going well.
I appreciate you guys sticking around with us while we do this live on air. Anyway, all right, just your Twitter DMs, okay? There's the link.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So a few months ago, Jim Jeffries' producer contacted me and asked me to come on as a guest to his show. Now, I agreed with two conditions. One, there'll be no neo-Nazi or Nazi sympathizers on the same segment because I don't want to be aligned to them and I don't want to give them any legitimacy or anything like that. Common sense. The second one was that they don't cut my answers from one question and put it to another. Now, to my horror, but not my surprise, they did exactly both. Both those things. But they went even further.
All right, let's see.
They connected me to the Christchurch.
It's already playing. Hold on. Okay.
The New Zealand shooter.
All right. I'm at... let's just start it from the beginning here. Sorry, again, guys. This is the third time you have to hear this. But we'll start it from the beginning, and I will mute the desktop audio. Or actually, I will mute the Discord audio. Is that the way to do this? Is that the smart play here?
I hope you're not asking me, because I don't know.
Oh no, I'm asking my gut, and it's not responding. So we're just gonna try this. All right, I'm gonna deafen now, and start the video at 00 in 1, 2.
So a few months ago, Jim Jeffries' producer contacted me and asked me to come on as a guest to his show. Now, I agreed with two conditions. One, there'll be no neo-Nazi or Nazi sympathizers on the same segment because I don't want to be aligned to them and I don't want to give them any legitimacy or anything like that. Common sense. The second one was that they don't cut my answers from one question and put it to another. Now, to my horror, but not my surprise, they did exactly both. Both those things. But they went even further. They connected me to the Christchurch killer. to the terrorist.
The New Zealand shooter left behind a detailed record of his anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim rhetoric. And unfortunately, these days, this kind of intolerance is being tolerated in more places than you might think.
So it's important to remember that this was filmed a few months ago and not in response to the Christchurch massacre as they seem to be alluding here.
I would...
All right, I'm paused here at 103. Essentially, this guy's
right.
Yeah, this guy's talking about the same thing that happened to your boy Zach, but your boy Zach didn't have evidence of it. And you know, I'm actually gonna go ahead and exit out of this so we don't invoke a copyright or anything. That basically gave you the gist of the idea, but he's been caught red-handed doing it here, and I think that's something huge, because they tried to paint Zach as basically a white supremacist in Comicsgate. You still there?
Yeah, sorry, my iPad was doing something weird. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no problem, man. No, but no,
yes, I'm streaming from an iPad. Don't judge me.
No. Blame church here, because I don't care. But anyway, no. Jim Jeffries is the same guy that interviewed Zach, and they made Zach out to be a white supremacist, and all he did was show up to an interview and was just like, "Oh, I'm I'm not that. I didn't. What are you doing?" But he tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and they screwed him like they always do, which is a prime example of why you should never talk to the media. And EVS even brought it up in his stream the day that this broke, that it's really a sad state that the media and comedy have become so intertwined. You know, the left basically gets all of its news from Trevor Noah and people like Jim Jeffries. Like, it's ridiculous. I understand comedians talking about current events and hot topics, but I really don't need a Medicare Fembot. Hello. Thank you for showing up in the chat. I appreciate you guys showing up. Everybody that's watching, thank you guys. I really had no intention of having a chat to interact with, so this is great.
How many people are we up to?
We have a whole 4 people watching, so I mean we're on our way to a whole Kumite.
Yeah, we're about what, 3/4 of a Kumite?
When you take out the mods, yes. Super Smash is here in the chat too. What's going on, Super Smash? Thank you for stopping by. Thank you very much, Robin. We definitely appreciate it. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a guy that likes comics. Ayrton's a guy that likes comics, so cartoon.
And I'm a smartass who likes comics and was drunk tweeting last night.
Yeah, this is what drunk tweeting gets you, folks. Live streaming with a drunken church. So remember and repent your sins. But what was I talking about? I mean, I was going off on a rant, but I just got so excited that we have viewers.
we're talking about
Zach
and Jim Jeffries.
But no, it's shameful that the entire left. And Medicare Fembot, we will be talking about the Marvel comics that correlate with the Marvel movies and how they differ and stuff like that at a certain point. And we'll be
I always do find that interesting.
We'll basically be going through the plot lines and the summaries of different comic stories, so you don't have to read them to get our take on the story. But anyway, no, just final statement. I'm going to shut up about it because I keep getting distracted. The fact that the news and comedy has gotten so intertwined in our society is a damn shame. So that's just where that is. And this Jim Jeffries thing, I think everybody should see it. I think everybody should take it to heart. Even if you know, and I never would advise to Patreoning somebody that I don't know about their content, but this guy's releasing the video to his patrons. It might be worth it to make friends with somebody that Patreons him, or, you know, get a little group together and everybody chip in on a month so you can download the video and expose Jim Jeffries for the piece of trash that he is for this. So, anyway.
Oh yeah, that needs to be spread everywhere.
Mr. Minotaur, welcome to the chat.
You know,
sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to welcome Mr. Minotaur.
Yeah, no problem. I was just gonna say, you know, he's not the only one doing it.
No, they all do it.
So yeah, that definitely needs to be spread everywhere.
Right, and I think everybody needs to you know, clip it up and put it out. Don't defame the message, but get the good parts out of it, and make sure that everybody knows that this kind of stuff is going on, and it's really, I mean, it's terrible. But back to comics. Let's get back to the lightheartedness. This isn't a Black Hole stream. So, my first idea, like I said, was to get into the Secret Wars for our first couple of streams next week. I wanted to run that by you, see if maybe you guys or you guys in chat might have something to suggest. I always intend to listen to whoever wants to watch the show. But the 1987 Secret Wars. Oh, thanks, Minotaur. The 1987 Secret Wars carried a lot of the differences of diversity between 1987 and 2019. So you have actual prominent female characters that were created. You've got the 80s Secret Wars. I'd eventually like to get through all of them because Jonathan Hickman is one of my favorite writers. Yeah, Black Suit Spidey, issue number 8, Robin. The Secret Wars is one of the few stories that just covers the majority of Marvel history, and it actually ties back in with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles we were talking about. It was a book that was written for a toy line.
Why don't you go into that a little bit, since we already touched on that?
Well, in the 80s,
because I actually didn't know that.
Well, in the 80s, Mattel approached Marvel Comics and said, yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's what I'm talking about right now, Minotaur. Mattel had developed this huge line of toys based on the Marvel characters, but in order to promote that line of toys, they approached Marvel and said, you need to write a story that has all of your big characters in it. And at the time in Marvel Comics, Tony Stark wasn't wearing the Iron Man armor. Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel. Sue Storm was not with the Fantastic Four for some reason. Maybe she was pregnant with Franklin at the time. I don't remember. A lot of people recognize it as the first as the first big crossover in Marvel Comics, but they also don't realize that the oversized wedding of the Fantastic Four was the first crossover, because the actual wedding had pretty much every character in the Marvel Universe in it. But yeah, it was created as a giant ad for toys, but with that you have Rhodey in the Iron Man armor. You have Monica Rambeau. You have Volcana and Titania created. You have actual conflict between characters that's not black and white, because you have good guys on the bad guys' side, so to speak, with the Molecule Man, who doesn't want to hurt anybody, and Galactus, who is a neutral character. You've got Magneto, who transports in with the heroes and is basically considered a villain in the books, but according to the Beyonder, is nothing but a neutral party. He's doing things that he thinks is good, so it's not up to him to judge that. And that's kind of an unspoken statement of the book, is that morality in certain situations is questionable.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool story.
Well, it's the introduction of the Black Suit Spider-Man and the Beyonders as a concept. Transformers is a comic book, Fembot. Marvel actually owned the rights to it for the longest time, and a complete set of the first 4 issues is roughly worth $50 to $100, depending on their condition. Dead air.
I thought you cut out for a I thought my sound cut out for a second.
No, dead air.
My bad.
I lost track when I addressed Medicare Fembot. She asked about the Transformers being a comic book. Holy shit, we're up to 10 whole viewers. We are almost at a full Kumite, folks.
Wow.
I appreciate everybody for showing up. I apologize. This is Donka's fault. Everything in excess of anything is Donka's fault, Karasiv. Welcome to the show. I haven't actually read Ultimate Carnage yet. The 90s are hard for me to read, because that was an era that comics almost died.
Yeah, they got a little dicey with the Ultimates universe.
Well, in the 90s, Ultimate Carnage wasn't an Ultimate Universe book. Ultimate Carnage was, I believe it was just a storyline where Carnage and, who was the woman in that story? There was a woman that teamed up with Carnage, and I believe Cloak and Dagger were involved. Venom and Spider-Man teamed up. I haven't read it in years if I actually finished reading it, but it was a very interesting story. The Century
anytime I hear, oh, that one, yeah. Anytime I hear Ultimate, all I can think of is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch making love in the woods while Wolverine watches.
Carnage did eventually come back. I'm sorry, I'm still addressing the chat. I'm not trying to ignore you, big guy.
Yeah, no problem.
Carnage did eventually come back, and in the early 2000s, during the Axis storyline, I believe, when the heroes and villains alignment was shifted, Carnage came back and was a good guy. And for some reason, Peter Parker wasn't affected, so Carnage sacrificed himself while Peter Parker stayed back to keep fighting the good fight or something. I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'd have to brush up. But he came back, and Cletus Cassidy said, "All I want is a statue erected in my honor," while someone stands behind it with a stereo blaring Freebird all day and night. And I think Spider-Man actually made that happen, because Cletus Cassidy sacrificed his life as a hero during the Axis storyline. Oh yeah, they're
now
go ahead.
That's one of my dreams now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was just saying that's one of my dreams now.
Yeah, if you're epic enough to have a statue erected in your honor that constantly plays Freebird, like I'd want it to play Freebird on the hour every hour or something. That would be good.
Yeah.
But
so somebody needs to make that happen.
But that was the Axis storyline. Was the last time I've seen Carnage in full action. The symbiotes have gone through a lot of weird retcons, and I don't think we've gotten a whole lot of story with them since the Secret Wars 2015 soft reboot. But I know we did get a couple of Venom books before and after, so that might be where you need to look. I'm only really up to the 80s and mid 90s in my general comic book lore. Bleh, I can speak. But the late 2000 stuff and the 90s stuff is just kind of hard to read sometimes. I'm more of an independent guy when it comes to that.
Yeah, going back and trying to reread some of the stuff from that era, like where I came up reading comics, is definitely a lot harder to read now that I know what I know than it was back when I was a kid. But I still have a little bit of a soft spot for some of that stuff.
Well, it's hit or miss, but I mean, if you think about like the Claremont Phoenix saga, or any of Claremont or like X-Men at all, I mean, you really can't go wrong, even though that was like novel writing in a comic book. There were two or three girl symbiotes, Robin. Anti-Venom was, I think, host on a female at one point in time. But yeah, I believe Siren was one of them. There was another one that I can't think of at the moment. The symbiote lore has just always been all over the place. My wife actually has a bigger soft spot for Venom than I do. While I love the black suit Spider-Man idea and the idea of Venom, he was essentially Wolverine. We were just talking about X-Men. Do you want to take a shift to DC and the rebirth, the Watchmen stuff, as Mr. Minotaur brought up, or do you know anything about that?
I know minimal. Like I said, I never really read a whole lot of DC, but I do know a bit about some of the background lore of it. So I'm fine with shifting over to that a bit. I might just have some questions about some of it.
Oh, absolutely. That's basically why I'm here. As far as your question, Mr. Minotaur, with DC doing the rebirth, I think it was kind of a really good move because it, yeah, Batman Penis was awful, but if you think about what they used it for, wasn't there a pedophile that directed the X-Men movies? Supposedly there was a pedophile that directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I mean, based on accusations, I don't know about this kind of stuff. That's why I say I don't intend to cover it. Like I said, Mr. Minotaur just said yes. Like I'm not aware of that particular issue. The X-Men movies were all horrible.
I don't have the chat up. Was he referring to Bryan Singer and like his pedophile accusations?
Probably. I didn't know Bryan Singer directed those movies. They were just all awful. I appreciate the reference to "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
But, well, he didn't direct that one. That was Brett Ratner that directed X-Men Last Stand. So, anyways.
Getting back to DC, I mean, Batman Penis is being talked about in the chat. I'm fine with this. Just let it happen. That's actually part of DC Rebirth. But I think DC Rebirth was actually kind of a smart move to address your question, Mr. Minotaur. Rebirth basically allowed them to, I don't know, do a soft reset, much like the 2015 Secret Wars did, and kind of undo some of the dog shit that was the 52. And yes, Bruce Wang. Okay, I said it. Go ahead and clip that out, and use it to smear me in 5 years, please. But no, I think Rebirth was actually a really great idea. It was a really great move. I think they kind of overdid it a little bit, and I think that allowing, oh God, what's his name? The terrible SJW Jessica Jones author. What if you wouldn't have asked? If I wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you. Jessica Jones, creator, Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis. As soon as I hit enter, Brian Michael Bendis. He moved over to DC, and he started writing Superman, and I think that was probably the worst thing DC could have ever done, besides hire James Gunn to direct Suicide Squad.
That was a horrid movie.
Well, the second movie is the one that he was supposed to direct, but yes, Bendis is awful. Oh God, corrosive. That's awful. I'm not even gonna. No. I mean, I appreciate you being here, and I'm gonna let you speak your speech, but I'm not saying it because clip channels. We don't have super chats, so I'm with Minotaur here. Disavow. I love you, but disavow. But getting to the second part of his question, part of the Rebirth, obviously I'm guessing you've seen the Watchmen movie.
A long time ago.
Well,
I have.
Who hasn't? I'm kind of a jackass, so I own it, but I haven't watched it in a couple of years. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we ever get super chats, I'll read them. But yeah, if it's just in the chat, I'm not gonna say it just off just off a rip. But feel free to just have at it. I'll hit show on every one of your comments if I have to. But the Watchmen were kind of an offshoot, an Elseworld almost. Where they reinvented some of the characters that they had acquired from like smaller publishers that DC absorbed when it was being formed from National Comics. And you got Rorschach, you got the blue guy, Dr. Manhattan, you got Owlman, or the Owl, or Night Owl, or Owl Pot Pie, whatever his name was. And you had all these characters, and they put them together in a shared universe and made a realistic story of if superheroes had come up in like the 50s and 60s and during Vietnam and all that stuff. And it was an espionage drama. Okay, yeah, I definitely will not say that, Medicare Fembot. That is good. Yeah, Rorschach was a good example of paranoid schizophrenia that DC then took Rorschach, which they owned the rights to, and then they copied him and made The Question, which was one of my favorite characters out of 52 when they gave the role to Renee Montoya. That was a natural evolution of a character. You got us invested in the character before the original character died of a believable cause. It was a very good way to transfer a male character into a female character after a long enough run. Whereas nowadays they just throw a woman in a previously male costume and said, "Hey, look, she's great." But
yeah, or in the case of Doctor Who, just decide they can regenerate into a woman.
That show's still going on?
Somehow. I don't know if it will be much longer after this most recent reincarnation, but...
Right. Well, but those characters from The Watchmen were actually brought into the mainline DCU with the Rebirth the Rebirth saga. So we've got Dr. Manhattan supposedly playing around in the background. You've got the son of the therapist of Rorschach, who's taken on the mantle of Rorschach, who's walking around investigating stuff that's going on. And I haven't really gotten too deep into it. Again, modern stories aren't really my forte yet. I just haven't gotten there in timelines. Oh, that's Gator, Zidane, and Ralph. That's the entire Killstream cast on the arm, and Failure on the shoulder. This is artwork courtesy of Cartoon. He did this on a commission, and it was better than I imagined it would be. So I love it, and no matter what happens to the Ralph Retort or the Killstream or the cast or whatever, I will always cherish this. Again, I love that show. I still follow the Ralph Retort every time it comes on. I have no insider information or anything like that, so please don't associate me with having that. I am the lore keeper, not the knower of secrets. Well,
I'm picturing you in a giant stone-like chair with a cloak on and a big staff now.
I literally do have 3 to 5 subject notebooks full of different kind of notes regarding the IBS community from its inception. I've been a lurker a lot longer than I've been an active member of this community.
Hey, same here.
But again, no, with the Rebirth stuff, I haven't really gotten into the meat of how the Watchmen are actually important. But I did take time out to read The Dark Knight's Metal, and while it wasn't the best series I've ever read, it was actually pretty intriguing. It was really well written. It drug on in some situations. Corrosive. Oof. I'm gonna. That's pretty funny though. I think that's a reference to Cog's Avatar. But no, Cartoon. I don't think he slips penises into his drawings unless they're of Dick Masterson. And not in a. I don't think he does that in a malicious way. I think he does it in a subliminal way so that you know. You know, Ralph puts on a great show. I don't really pretend to understand what goes on with him. It's entertaining, and you know, I'll watch it as long as it's entertaining. There's no, you know what, Cartoon, don't take any ideas. But yeah, the Ralph Retort, I don't have any problem with it. There's sometimes it gets boring, sometimes it's interesting. People should like what they like. I just don't intend to get personal with anyone on the internet. So that's
yeah, it's. I mean, it's the internet. It's a shit show no matter where you go.
Absolutely. I assume that one day you'll probably kick me off and hijack my channel and swat me. So that'll be good. You know, we'll be the locals one day.
I'm not planning.
You never plan on it. I'm sure Chungus didn't plan on
it. Oh, I'm pretty sure he did. But
but no,
you know, those Asians, they're sneaky.
I disavow. But No, really did like what they did with Rebirth. I collected the entire run of Hellblazer with the Rebirth banner on it. I read most of the issue ones, most of the Green Lantern stuff up to issue 5 or 6, and then I started reading older comics and realized that I would rather read older comics. But no, so you say you haven't really invested in anything of this era. Let's kind of transition into what you actually do like to partake in as far as the comic medium.
Yeah, said as of lately, it's not as much as I would like. I mean, really, I don't have as much free time to just sit down and read comics and like I used to. But a lot of the stuff I've been enjoying, like the one-off series, if you will, like the noir, like the Marvel Noir and the 1602, and like kind of that stuff I find really fun. Like Fantastic Four 1602 is a super fun story. I don't know if you've read it.
Oh yeah, 1602 is fantastic, and I like the Secret Wars 2015 spinoff that kind of came from it.
Yeah, and it's Fantastic Four is another like group that I really enjoy. That whole kind of like adventurer explorer kind of aspect behind the characters, like not just the straight up like villain of the week sort of story, but that kind of like
the
explorer kind of kind of like following a question or a mystery sort of thing. I find that really intriguing, and I thought the 1602 story was a really, really cool twist on that concept.
One thing I can say about that is that also one moment, Gulf City Cult of Krill, welcome to the show. We appreciate you showing up. I feel like this is going a lot better than last night because I have someone to talk to, and we have a few more people that are active in chat. But I definitely appreciate it. I did a little bit of stuff to fix the audio problems and a few testings, and damned the Discord app and opened it in the browser, and it seems like we were off to the races. But yeah, thanks for stopping in, Gulf City. Appreciate you being here. We're just kind of doing a little bit of an introduction. I'm not gonna ask Mr. Ayrton to go back through everything he's already said, but the stream will be up after we get done. So if you want to kind of thumb through it and give me notes on whether this was better or worse, then I'd greatly appreciate it. But
yeah, I'm especially not going to remember what I said after my third glass of whiskey. So.
Oh man, you're only on your third glass. I was going to ask if it would be kosher to take turns taking a whiskey break, but I didn't want to be rude because we were on a roll.
It's Bushmills 10-year single malt. I don't want to go through it too quickly.
Oh man, I feel like you're Nick Rekieta and I'm Ty Beard right now, and I bet that I have a longer beard than you as well, so that fits. Because I'm sitting here drinking straight Jack.
I mean, you probably do have a longer beard than me. If you go look at my my Twitter profile picture, that's pretty much what my beard looks like. My hair is longer, but
I've got a picture somewhere where I've edited my face out and I've got my Medicare hat on. I'll see if I can find it. Oh yeah, man, I have the Medicare hat. But yeah, we'll do this, and then I went on a rampage about the fedora and the trilby the other day. That was pretty fun. But we're straying away from comics, so I'll try and get back on track.
But
here.
Yeah, as I was saying, that's kind of the stuff I've been enjoying, kind of like those offshoot one-off stories, just kind of revolving around like the specific characters I enjoy, seeing them in these different settings and stuff. I find that enjoyable and kind of creative and twist on the typical kind of serialized storytelling.
Okay, you roboted out there for a second.
Oh, my bad.
But you seem better now. And we'll just I'm gonna comment on Fantastic Four as soon as I do this. You guys. Oh god damn it! What is it? Save as. Oh my god! I hate the extension format on Twitter. Why are you so awful? Yes. There we go. Oh god, it's huge. It's huge. There's my Medicare hat, y'all. That's all you get. Oh, getting closer. Getting closer. There we go. We'll just go from
the... Okay, you should post it in the Discord chat too, so I can see it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll send you a direct link to it. I'll just copy the image address to you, but it's already on screen for the chat there, and I actually dread going back to read what they say. Let's see what we got here. I'm not failure. I'm actually failure's church, but failure's beard isn't as big as mine, I
don't think. You have a few pounds less on him, anyways.
A few.
Not to be mean to failure, but
Mr. Minotaur is calling me white failure.
No, do you get this embroidered like at one of those mall kiosks or something?
No, I actually am a part of that industry. I did that at work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I didn't ever ever hear about Jim wanting to do merch, and then he flat out said one day, I don't do merch, piss off. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just make my own.
He said that quite a few times, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yes, Tendies, absolutely. I'll go ahead and get that off screen now. That is definitely, I'm going to have to go out and clip that out as well. Somebody's linked something in the chat here. Oh yeah, Doc Griffin has Medicare stuff on his thing here. I'm not touching that. That's not Well, that's fine, Kara Steve.
Are you disavowing again?
No. I'm not disavowing. Everybody do what the hell they want to. I'm just saying. But Kara Steve, you're all good. I'm a happily married church, so no issues there. The face is definitely taken. If we ever get big, I'm gonna have to delete the stream now.
I kind of wish I had the chat up so I could see this.
Oh man, I hope it's on the replay. I don't know if it is or not. I doubt it very seriously, but I think it will be on the YouTube replay. But it's definitely interesting. I'll go ahead and screenshot it to you. You have been called the hot guy, though. I will say that. Let's see. Kara C said the hot sounding guy is roboting. So that's you there, homeboy.
Yeah. See, no, Church says he's the boomer, but my technological skills go barely past using an iPad. So.
I mean, you see what I'm working with here. Come on now. Anyway, no, you were talking about the Fantastic Four. Getting back to comics
Yeah.
again, you
Um,
know, I love where this has been going, but I actually really have enjoyed this situation so far. This has been a lot of fun.
oh yeah.
But the Fantastic Four.
By the way, just for the chat, this is the first time I've ever been on a live stream. So
Oh yeah, corrosive, as she's he, she, them has let us know their name is pronounced. Corrosive has said, "I'll fix your iPad, baby." Winky face. So, I mean, you already have a fan.
I don't know if I should be hashtagging me to that or if I should be flattered.
I don't know. I would just, make sure you have a restraining order on standby if you needed one. But if they were totally serious, that wouldn't stop them. So you might have some marriage material on your hand if they turn out of the they've already called you the hot guy. You did it, corrosive. You did this to you.
That's true.
Elias says choose flattered, so we'll go with that. Probably CIA. Welcome to the show. This is the Gospel of Comics with the Church of Failure and Ayrton. If that's the, I don't see your check mark, CIA, so I'm not gonna give you a wrench just yet. I'm gonna need to see a warrant. But anyway, no. If you like the Fantastic Four, the DC, I don't know, correlation with that would have been the Challengers of the Unknown. It was a group of 4 explorers that didn't have superpowers, but they were like sci-fi explorers and adventurers.
See, no, them. I'm actually not familiar with them.
They're very similar. So, oh man, the CIA pulled a wrench out on us.
Uh-oh.
All right, well, we're gonna need the NSA to come in here and back you up before I'm scared of you. Who do a wonderful job, by the way. The NSA are great people, and I have never done anything wrong or illegal.
Now, is this CIA person, are they glow in the dark, or...
I haven't turned my lights off yet, because that's when they get you. But, no, the Fantastic Four were pretty great, and I think it was kind of the end of an era at the end of 2015, the beginning of 2016, when the Marvel ended with the 2015 Secret Wars and stopped publishing Fantastic Four comics for the first time in, I don't know, 40 years, 60 years, something like that, since they were created. They were the founding family of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, I was shocked when they canceled them.
Yeah, and as pretty much the cornerstone, and it was obvious to the public, even if the company never announced it, but it was obvious to the public that it was mainly because the movie rights were owned by Fox, and Marvel couldn't make money and wasn't going to advertise for someone to make a movie that they couldn't make money on.
Right.
They knew,
especially a shitty movie like Fan Four Stick.
Yeah, but and some people will say, well, they didn't do that to Spider-Man, and you can't stop printing Spider-Man comic books and stay in business. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's up there with Batman and Superman as far as being able to recognize him quickly.
Oh yeah, that goes back to the 3 most. Oh shit! The FBI showed up to tell us that the NSA is on spring break. So we've got two alphabets in the chat. Whoever these fine law enforcement agencies have representing their YouTube accounts, they're pretty funny. And
Come back with a warrant.
No, you're good. We don't do anything illegal, but we would love. Oh shit! Somebody corrosive is calling out the TSA. So let's see where the level of commitment is with this gimmick. This is good.
Would this be a bad time to bring up I'm an anarcho-capitalist libertarian, or should I wait a little bit?
No, we could talk about that. We're waiting on the TSA. What else are we gonna do? We're already boned if this is real, so.
I mean, if they're gonna feel me up like they did that little kid in the airport,
yeah.
you at least got to buy me dinner first.
Oh no, man! You just got to
at least buy me dinner first, maybe a couple drinks.
But no, the Fantastic Four are, kind of a cornerstone, and the Challenger, the Fantastic, never became that, and that's why most people don't know about them. But they were definitely an analog. Now, for me, if you ask me what my favorite comic books to read are, that's changed so drastically over the years that the TSA is currently licking a window. You can't count on him. I'm all right. The FBI gets a wrench. Give the FBI a wrench. Does that mean the FBI works for me now? All right. Anybody else want some responsibility? Like. I guess with 10 watchers we can hand out wrenches pretty freely. If we ever get big, I'm not doing it. But you guys are pretty great. This has been a lot more fun than I anticipated it would be. But that CIA.
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast.
But if you ask me what some of my favorite stories are, that answer has changed so much over the years. Right now, the most I look forward to a comic is you're not wrong, corrosive. The most I look forward to a comic is like East of West. It's a Jonathan Hickman book under the Image imprint, and it's about an alternate universe America where the world is set into like 6 or 7 segments. I don't rightly remember at the moment, but it's like the Native Americans, the Old West, the Chinese. It's just several different factions and segments, but then the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are real, and the child of death is like the weapon of it. It's just so good. I mean, it is. All right. The CIA's there too.
That sounds really cool.
All right, we gotta wrench the CIA too because it was a 2-man gimmick. Sorry, but yeah. Did you read the 2015 Secret Wars? I don't know that a lot of people
did. I did not. I had stopped following modern day comics before that point.
I'll get into
so
it. Go ahead.
I have a general idea of kind of what happened, but that's about it. Same with like Civil War II. I never read that either, just because that seemed dumb to me. But
well, yeah, I didn't even. I mean, Robin, I said ask for a wrench if you wanted one. Also, the CIA.
All these wrenches. It's like we got a bunch of mechanics in here.
I mean, that's a bad joke. You know what, Medicare Fembot? The sexism accusation has been thrown out, so you get a wrench too. Everybody gets a wrench. I'm Oprah up in this MFer. But no, Jonathan Hickman was the author of Secret Wars 2015. Oh no, I'm cutting it at midnight. I don't ever intend to cut into the midnight time slot. But that's right, handing out wrenches. We're just kumateing it up in here. We've got the Church of Failure. I'm gonna make Ayrton rebrand as Neo Tonka. So
Oh boy.
you're even starting to sound like Failure. There you go. I figured it would be me.
See,
I figured I would be telling.
But I'm never gonna. I'm never gonna challenge somebody to fight me in real life. So,
Oof.
And I can walk.
Oof. No.
And if you want proof I can walk, you can go to my YouTube channel and see some of my videos of my music. Anyways, sorry, I wanted to chill for a second.
Hey, no problem, man. Actually, if you'll shoot me a message with that link in it, I'll put it in the description. I'll also put your Twitter in the description as well. I'd encourage everybody.
Yeah, I'll shoot that over to you.
To throw their Twitters in the Twitters, mate, in the chat real quick. But anyway, let me just kind of get to the meat of it. Jonathan Hickman. I mean, until you start operating the OBS, Robin, no, it doesn't make you vamp. I'm sorry.
Oops.
Anybody that wants to save me from having to operate OBS, I would be eternally grateful. But I figure I'm gonna have to learn how to work with it on my own. So I would never call someone vamp. That's just rude.
Yeah, that's not cool.
But no, I figure we'll maybe do another 10 minutes and call it. Just finish up with the chat, see if anybody has any questions or suggestions for next week. I'm thinking Friday and Saturday nights, 10 to midnight. I mean, I know that kind of cuts into the Ralph Retort on Fridays, and I don't want anybody that currently watches the Ralph Retort to not watch the Ralph Retort during that time, but there's only so many hours in the day that I can stream. So again, if you watch it, my stream will be up afterwards. I would be more than happy to keep it up so anybody could watch any replays or whatever. So otherwise, I mean, unless you have a different idea for scheduling or whatever, or we have something come up.
I really don't. I mean, I have a full-time job and I'm starting a business. So really Friday and Saturday nights are like perfect streaming times for me. So
well, that sounds good to me.
So I mean, yeah.
What I figure is I will
but
go ahead. Can you hear me? We've done so good.
I can hear you.
Okay. We've done so well. No, I mean, everybody okay with Secret Wars 1 through 3 on Friday, Secret Wars 4 through 6 on Saturday, and we'll kind of go from there. Does anybody have any requests or anything like that? I mean, this is going out to chat. Any church out here stealing Tug's and Ralph's time slot? I didn't know Tug was on Friday night streaming or Saturday night streaming. I mean, I'm totally not trying to steal somebody's time slot. I'm totally leaving the streams up so people can watch at their leisure or.
Hey, and to be fair, Ralph is usually late, muted, and gay, anyways. So
I disavow.
You made me laugh while I had whiskey in my mouth.
Good, that's what you get. World War Hulk is. I can definitely throw that on there. Can we have bikini girls in the background? I mean, if you want to, suggest some bikini girls for the background over Twitter or in my Discord, I'll throw that in the description as well. I don't know if it'll go live until after the stream or whatever, but I'll copy a link to the Discord so anybody can jump in. Don't jump into the voice chat. I'll have to lock that off now that I'm giving out the link to the Discord. I've already realized what I've said and done. So
to be fair, the dumpster fire that could be the Discord chat could be entertaining.
I mean, like I said, this has been fun, so we'll keep doing it till it ain't. All right.
Now, does anyone in the chat have any other suggestions for like maybe some of the one-offs and stuff that I've been reading that we could do? I can't see the chat, so you're gonna have to tell me if anybody says anything.
All right. Just kind of going back up here. We've got World War Hulk from Mr. Minotaur.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. No. Who was it that said World War Hulk? No, it was Minotaur. Okay. Robin asked if we can have bikini girls in the background. If you want to send me bikini girls on Twitter, then I will put them in the background for you, as long as they're YouTube appropriate.
If it works for you, I'll wear a bikini while streaming.
That is not acceptable. I disavow. Shit, an SMG load. Oh wait, that was corrosive. Man, should I give corrosive a wrench? I feel like I should. Everybody gets a wrench, right? Medic or Fembot said,
yeah, it's like one of those doorbuster Black Friday. One of those doorbuster Black Friday sales. The first, 15 customers get a wrench.
I'm not sure. Oh, apparently you're supposed to read erotica. That's people will watch.
I'm supposed to read erotica?
I believe that is what's requested. Yes.
I mean, send it to me on Twitter. I mean, if Church is cool with it, I'll do. I'll fucking do it. I don't care.
I'll set it up and mute myself and drink whiskey in the background.
It's his stream. I'll do it though.
All right, Minotaur. Here's your wrench here. I think we're gonna stay away from the erotica right now until we get to adult comics at
least. Maybe just for you, I'll do it over on my channel.
I'm gonna throw Ayrton's Twitter in the chat here. There we go. So you're about to get a couple of followers.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Robin's going to send you some Super Smash erotica to read that we're not going to read.
If you don't mind, I'd like to give a quick summary of my channel.
Oh,
since
absolutely.
We're getting towards the end.
Oh, absolutely. Go with it.
All right, cool. So I'm primarily a blues guitarist. I'm working on expanding my kind of promoting my music a little bit more. So the majority of my videos up there, aside from one, are me it's entirely improv. I turn on a backing track and I just kind of jam out to these backing tracks and just kind of feel the groove, if you will. I've one video of me riding my motorcycle kind of around my town with a GoPro, but other than that, the majority of it's just kind of my blues music. So I am working on an album right now, and I'm playing on a friend of mine's album. So my channel is kind of devoted to my music kind of at the moment. So I would love any follows and feedbacks on it for anyone that's kind of into blues and improv music and that kind of stuff.
All right. Definitely. And what you and I can do is, I feel like he just read us his Tinder profile. There you go. His Tindy profile, Corrosive. Tindy.
My Tindy profile. Get it right.
She's swiping right. Brews and Blues. Anyway, what I was saying, we will spend the next couple of days over the week. We'll get some more stuff set up. I will actually take some time and set up some scenes. I didn't expect it to go on this long. I really appreciate everybody coming through on chat. I appreciate your time, man. We will be back next week.
I had a blast. So this was a ton of fun.
We will be back next week. We will converse on. I guess. Do you want to do World War Hulk since that was requested? I mean, I have no problem just putting Secret Wars to a later time, and we have a little bit more organization and stuff. We can do World War Hulk. It was a little more recent.
I'm down for World War Hulk.
Well, we can even shout out Medicare Fembot and say that World War Hulk was one of the comic books that Thor Ragnarok drew from. So we'll be talking about that next week now as well.
Oh yeah, and I'd love to get into talking about Jack Kirby's art influence on Thor Ragnarok.
Oh man, yes, we're Jack Kirby. The square fingers, so good.
Oh yeah, his art style is something else. It's a shame that he's not regarded as one of the great modern artists of our time. Not just comic book, but his style is just incredible.
Yeah, no joke. But yeah, we'll you and I will take some time and get everything set up. I'll get some scenes set up, and we'll plan this out a little better. I will make sure that all the links and everything are available so that we can get in there. I'll post the Discord link in the description, and yeah, we will go from there. I appreciate everybody. Like I said, thank you again, man. Go check out his YouTube channel. Go check out his Twitter at AARCHER_91. Check me out on Twitter at Church Failure. I mean, most of you already know who I am. The Discord link should be in the description. If not, I'll put it in the top of the comment section. And I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. My YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just Ayrton McCartney. Super easy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Church. I had a blast. This was great.
Man. This was a lot more fun than last night. I'm gonna leave that last night video up so that I can see how awful things are when you try and talk to a computer screen, so that I know never to do it again. Chat definitely always
live and learn.
Chat definitely always wins, and I want to give a shout out to Elias, Cartoon, Corrosive, Mr. Minotaur, Medicare Fembot, Robin, the FBI, the CIA, everybody coming out, Gulf City, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. This was more fun than I could have imagined it being. So thank everybody. Oh, and the CIA, the CIA and the NSA does a great job.
We have to thank the CIA.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks again,
guys. I
guys.
totally love the government.
Thanks again, guys. Again, we'll be coming back Friday, I believe, 10 p.m. and Saturday, unless we figure out a better time. We won't overlap with Ricada's stream. We may overlap with the Ralph Retort, but again, we definitely, if you want to watch the Ralph Retort, by all means, it will not make us upset at all. Have a good night, guys, and thank you again. This has been the Gospel